What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Once again, you guessed it, we're looking at another trade I took on Euro USD earlier this morning. This was actually a pre-London trade. Usually I trade during the London session has already opened, and even then I usually wait like 20 to 30 minutes, but this time I spot exactly what I was looking for. So, I just went ahead and took the trade, so I didn't have to wait up for the London session to start to catch my trade. But yeah, let's go ahead and break down this trade. So the first thing that I did was always go to the higher time frames. That's the first thing you should always do. The higher time frames dictate the overall trend, and then it makes it a lot easier to figure out what you want to do with your entries once you figure out where price is already going to go or where it's already currently headed. So when I looked at the 1 hour chart, the first thing that I noticed is we had this head and shoulders pattern right here. And we had this neckline right here. Let me change this to my normal. There we go. So this was the neckline of this head and shoulders pattern, which never really got retested. We can see that price came into it, but kept going up. But then I dragged this into the future because I also noticed that this right here looked like it could be forming another head and shoulders pattern. We're still roughly in the same area, so obviously price is showing lots of rejection. So when I noticed this, I was like, okay, if this is going to be a head and shoulders pattern, which I'm almost positive it is, because then it completes right here, I was like, it's time to see what price will do. Is it going to go to the neckline? Most likely it will. We already have this major level right here in the market, and you can see how price was rejecting a little bit above that. We also have this little area right here as well. So we have a couple areas right here in this general region where price could reject, and I already started seeing price rejecting right here. So once I saw all that, I already knew what I was looking for, which was a buy opportunity, because I wanted to buy into the neckline of this head and shoulders pattern. Because the neckline hadn't been retested yet, I went ahead and went down to a smaller time frame like the 5 minute, and I started looking to see if there was anything that kind of went with what I was looking for. And the first thing that I noticed was that we had this small little trend right here, and then price finally breaks it. I also noticed that we have this little area right here where price has been respecting. So yeah, we do have this impulse push that comes out of this level and breaks it a little bit, but then you'll notice if we look at the price action that there's some heavy rejection going on right here, and then price pushes right back above this. So to me, this isn't a break of this area. This is more of like a fake out or just an impulse move pushing down. So once I noticed all of that, it was time for me to go down to an even lower time frame to get much more detail so I can get a more accurate entry. So now that we're on the 1 minute time frame, you can see how price broke the trend line, how we're going up, and then price retraces. So as soon as I notice that price is starting to retrace, I grab my Fibonacci tool and go from low to high, because we are now in an uptrend in my opinion. So now that we have the Fibonacci already drawn on the chart, we can go ahead, and how I use it is I look for where did price consolidate the most on the impulse move that pushed price before the retracement. So to me, price consolidated the most between the 38 and the 50. So now we can go ahead and put our strike zone, and we can get rid of this because we don't need it. So now we have basically 3 confirmations. We have price trend, or excuse me, 4. We have the head and shoulders pattern, which needs its neckline to be retested. That was 1. We saw the rejection at the bottom of this level down here, which is already going alongside with what we want to happen, a buy to go into the neckline. That was 2. Then we see the trend line gets broken. That's 3. We also see this level right here being respected. Price tries to push out of it and then comes right back in. So that's 4. So now all I need to do is wait for price to come into this area that I've identified where I want to take my trade. And we can see that price slams down into the area that I was waiting for, and then comes right back into it, right? We get this little break below it, but then the next candle comes right back into this area. So once again, like I said earlier, this isn't really a break of that area. It's just an impulse push. So I don't really consider this a break. This is just more like a fake out. So as soon as this candle closed, I went ahead and took my trade for 10 minutes. And then you can see how my trade would have closed roughly in this area. I can't remember exactly what candle it was, but it was up here. I think it might have been this candle right here, if I'm not mistaken. But you can see how it kind of seems complicated to trade because there's a lot that goes into it, but it's all extremely easy stuff. You know, we're just identifying key areas or patterns or whatever it is that you like to look for in the market, and then we're just moving into smaller time frames to get more detailed information. We see another level being rejected, which goes along with what we saw on the hour time frame. We see this trend line being made right here. Price gets broken, this level is being respected, we draw the fib, and then we just go ahead and take the trade when price gets into our strike zone. So you can see that our trade closed up here, we entered it roughly down here, 10-minute binary trade, and then you can see how price did dip a little bit lower into this little area before retesting the neckline that we were waiting on and then just tanking. So overall, we were extremely happy with this trade. All right, it went exactly as I wanted. I wish price would have just went straight up after that, because I probably would have entered a couple more trades before I hopped off. But once I entered my trade and I saw price going down, I just figured that price might have already considered this the retest of that neckline. So, you know, I thought my trade had already happened. I wasn't going to get any more, no point to sit on the charts. But then lo and behold, like 45 minutes later, price came exactly where I was looking for it to and then dropped. But that's okay, because it's always better to miss a win than it is to take a loss. So just remember that. You know, I might have missed out on this trade where I was originally targeting price to go, but at the end of the day, I didn't lose any money either, because every time you enter a trade, you also have the potential to lose. So, you know, like I said, it's better to miss a win than it is to take a loss. But anyways, with that being said, if you found anything in this video helpful, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe. The liking of these videos really helps with the YouTube algorithm, spreads my videos around to more people, and that subscribe button is there if you just want to get notified when I post new ones. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.